In this lesson, we'll solve a trigonometric equation that is what we call quadratic in type. Here we're asked to find all solutions of the equation 2 cosine squared theta minus 7 cosine theta plus 3 equals 0. As we've noted previously, recall that the notation cosine squared theta, that just means cosine theta quantity squared. So this becomes 2 times the quantity cosine theta squared minus 7 cosine theta plus 3 equals 0. And now if it's helpful for you, you can go ahead and say, okay, let me temporarily make x cosine theta, and then you can rewrite this equation as 2x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. And then from here, notice that you have a quadratic equation in the variable x. So you can solve this quadratic equation in your preferred method. So you could use the quadratic formula. This one, it's not too hard to see that this one actually factors as 2x minus 1 times x minus 3 equals 0, which would give us 2x minus 1 equals 0, or x equals a half. X minus 3 is 0, so x equals 3. So from there, we get that cosine theta is equal to a half, or cosine theta is equal to 3. So again, if it's helpful for you to introduce that variable x equals cosine theta, you're welcome to do that. I think it's just a matter of personal preference whether or not you introduce x equals cosine theta or just solve. And again, you could do this using the quadratic formula as well. Again, we can factor. This is just leaving our cosine theta in, just as we did before with x. So 2 cosine theta minus 1 cosine theta minus 3 equals 0, which gives us cosine theta is a half, or cosine of theta equals 3. So let's think about when this can happen. So first of all, cosine theta equals a half. Remember, cosine is our x-coordinate. So let's go on our unit circle and say, where's the first place our x-coordinate is a half? Well, that's definitely going to be at pi over 3. And then, as we've said before, we can go around from pi over 3 all the way around the circle as many times as we want. So we'll get pi over 3 plus any multiple of 2 pi. Multiples of 2 pi are just going around the circle. Now, where else is the cosine theta, is cosine of theta equal to a half? Again, cosine is the x-coordinate, so we won't need to look anywhere on the left side of the unit circle because our cosines are negative there. So cosine is a half again at 5 pi over 3. So we'll also get 5 pi over 3, but then again we can go around as many times as we want. So 5 pi over 3 plus 2 pi k. So this represents the set of solutions of cosine theta equals a half. What about cosine theta equals 3? Well, cosine of theta, remember, is our x-coordinate on the unit circle. Because we're on the unit circle, cosine of theta is always in between minus 1 and 1. So the smallest your x-coordinate ever is negative 1, and the largest it is 1. So cosine theta equals 3 doesn't have any solutions, which means our entire set of solutions is pi over 3 plus any multiple of 2 pi, as well as 5 pi over 3 plus any multiple of 2 pi.